Welcome back to Nose Ball. Today we're gonna do something a little different and really try and expand our basketball knowledge, if you will. But before we get there, make sure you subscribe and like it if you like this kind of stuff. This is again a different kind of video. But we're gonna learn about some like advanced stats really because for as long as I've been a basketball fan, as long as I've done this stuff on YouTube, never really looked at advanced stats, never really looked at anything like that. The most advanced thing I would look at is per 36, and that's not even like an advanced stat thing. I just don't know what a lot of it means. I don't know where to look for a lot of it. And I'm a firm believer that you can't just go off advanced stats. You can't also just go off of eye test, though, which is why I am doing this. I'm using B-Ball Index. This is something you have to pay for. It's only $5 a month. I can't imagine anyone from B-Ball Index is going to see this, but if you are, I'm sorry. Go use it. I'm not trying to steal it or give out stuff for free, but I just want to learn some things about it. I will put the link to B-Ball Index in the description if you want to check it out. They do have some free stuff, but there's a couple things that I want to kind of look at. And we're just going to be doing it for fun. As you guys know, I started my own little weekly or 2 time a week podcast thing where I started off ranking the top 10 in each position. I did point guards on Saturday. This week we've got shooting guards. So I'm not going to show you too much of shooting guard stuff because I don't want to spoil the list before it's out, but I will, look at some random things. So this is B-Ball Index. This is their player comparison stuff. So we can compare players. So let's go. My favorite player in the league currently, Jason Tatum. And let's do who's somebody that I don't know that people often say are in the same range. So some people argue about Luka. I think Luka is a better basketball player, but I think they are in a similar realm. So we'll go both based on last season. Now this might not be the best because Luka was hurt, but we could check for other years after. So we check it out, and basically we've got some of this stuff. I should move myself out of the way for you guys. Yeah, okay. Let's zoom it in a little bit so you guys can see better. So right, so we've got Jason Tatum on the left, Luke on the right. Years of experience, stuff like this doesn't really matter. Again, I don't know what a lot of this means. So like defensive positional versatility, is that the people that are defending them, their versatility, or is that there's no way that it's like Luka and Tatum's defensive versatility, right? Because Luke, I don't know. I have no clue. This is the percent of time that they are defending certain positions. So like Jason Tatum spends 70% of his time guarding centers, 61% guarding fours. Now, but if you think about last year, that makes sense, right? Because when healthy, like when they had Drew, Derek White, Brown, Tatum, and Porzingis. Tatum is probably the worst. Porzingis is the worst defender for sure, but he's a different type of defender. But Tatum, out of at least those top three, is the worst defender. So they would kind of hide him a little bit, put him on, the center. And again, they're not hiding. I don't know why I said it like that, but like they're not going to use him on the best player. So there's at least that's what in my mind what makes sense. Again, these guys aren't. Again, Luka not going to guard a lot of point guards. They're going to have him stashed away on a small forward in the corner, which is why I would assume that he's at almost 79% guarding small forwards, because for some teams, the small forward is like the guy who goes sits in the corner, like Dylan Brooks or a Jaden McDaniel, something like that. But defensive rebounding, they're both very good defenders. This is the percentile. So Tatum is in the 99.9 percentile of defensive rebounding conversion skill. Efficiency. So effective field goal percentage, pretty similar, except free throw percentage. It seems like Tatum's got Luka. Shot quality. So this is something that I would assume you would see for a lot of star players because they are generating their own shots 98% of the time. Um, and often, if you're a good player taking those shots, you're a tough shot maker, tough shot taker, you're going to have a really low. So, like, Luka's is way worse. His is 4.3. But again, if you think about it, Luka's handling the ball and the guy taking those worst shots way more than what Tatum is. Tatum is going to get better looks, especially based off last year and the year before. Overall shooting talent, Luka's got him 98 percentile. The thing with this is a lot of this stuff is going to look really good because these are two top 5-ish players in the league right now. Let's see, finishing talent, rim shot creation, rim shot quality. So Tatum's is a lot worse than what Luka Doncic's is. It's also not the easiest thing to compare because these are two completely different positions. Luka Doncic is a point guard. Jason Tatum most times is the power forward for his team. But this is something that's really interesting. Guarded by defensive data. So guarded by ball screen navigation, Luka way more right. Luka Doncic is one of the best pick and roll players in the game. 78%. Guarded by matchup difficulty. So 97.1 and 97.6%. These players are getting the most difficult matchup from the opposing team, whether that's McDaniels and Amen Thompson, a Drew Holiday, something like that, So guarded by perimeter isolation defense, two players who love to isolate, right? Create their own shot, 96 percentile, makes sense. Guarded by rim protection's hard when it's like this because I would assume this means when they drive to the rim because I mean some of the, occasionally obviously they do, their post fades, a little turnaround, post work. And yeah. What else do we have? Offensive rebounding. So, right, like Luka's a better offensive rebounder than what Tatum would be. One-on-one. So, let's see. One-on-one shot making. Again, maybe because Luka didn't have the greatest year. Was hurt a little bit. But because that's strange. That's really low. Can I do Luka again? But can I do instead of 2025 as well as 2025 place 2024 up here? So 2024 is in the middle because I just want to see. So where were we at? We were at 101. Yeah. So he was hurt. 99.9% 2024. This was the 34 point per game year, right? I think that he had. Let's see if we could go back to some of that guarded by. So similar numbers. Okay, so not too much changes. Shot quality was actually a little better, but again hurt, so that takes up some of his ability, obviously, to generate better shots. 3-point shot quality again, awful garbage. I wonder if we could is there a way to see who was instead of to look player by player, is there a way we could see who the best 3-point shot quality players in the league? So Luka does a lot more handoffs than what Jason Tatum does. Pick and roll ball handler frequency. Yep. Pick and roll pop, right? Makes sense. Luka's not going up to set a screen for anybody. He is the person, who is, has the ball. So okay, so there's that. What if we go and we do like who are some of the two who are the some of the best bench players in the league? Let's go Payton Pritchard versus Ty Jerome, right? Two guys who are in the running for sixth man of the year, play the same position. Um, we're both on two of the best teams in the league last year, so let's see. Okay, so again, years of experience doesn't really matter too much. So right, these guys probably get switched on an okay amount, which is why I assume it would be so high, right? Like you would assume if someone asked you, "Hey, what percentile do you think Payton Pritchard or Ty Jerome is of guarding centers this past season?" You would probably say 2%, 3%, but again, that's not necessarily what it is because you got to think of switches, you got to think of mismatches, off of a miss and some teams trying to run in transition, um, efficiency. So again, Payton Pritchard, although, but again, that like this is a really like big difference, right? Shot quality for Ty Jerome is he's in the 1 percentile. Like that's not good. Payton Pritchard's in the 40th percentile, and you can't even make the argument of the opportunity and players on his team because the Cavs have had equally as much. Um, true shoot. I mean, these guys were similar, like self-created shot making efficiency. So see, this is what I'm saying. So right, like overall shot quality was horrible, but when you talk about his self-created shot making, he's almost the 100th percentile. Like he's as close as you can be, compared to Pritchard's 89. Let's see, guarded by, so screen navigation, okay, was high. Let's see, so matchup difficulty 71% to 69%. Again, it's hard to compare because I don't really know if that's a lot or not, right? Um, we've got so like rim protection, not too much. Ty Jerome, I mean, Payton Pritchard shot, played on the perimeter a little bit more than what Ty Jerome did, so that would make sense. And yeah, but let's go to like I don't know. There is also this part too. Uh, their player profiles, right? That they go through fans. But again, shout out to them. I'm not trying to steal anything. I'm just trying to show. Um, but yeah, let me pull up that for you guys. Okay, perfect. Except that I'm in the way. I should probably be doing all this stuff off camera, but I'm not. All right. Perfect. So let's go up here for now. We've got player profile. So like you could look for, I don't know. Let's search for. I don't want to go best of the best, but I don't want to go like let's go for Derek White. We click on Derek White. So they give him badges like this is 2K. Gold limitless range, silver unpluckable, things like that. Lob City Architect, Floor General. So, let's see. So I mean, this might be a lot of similar things. So he was not good he was worse at guarding power forwards than he was at guarding centers. I mean, obviously defended a lot of guards. Let's see, efficiency. So he again super efficient. We talk about self-created shot, which is pretty good for a guy like Derek White. Like the shots he creates, he's in the 97th percentile. What else? What do we have here? Finishing, guarded by. So an off-ball chaser makes sense if you think about how he plays. Matchup difficulty, 80th percentile. Can we see? Ooh, opportunity usage might be fun. Quick decision making, he's in the 19th percentile, which is an F. Primary defender involvement rate is about 50%. Again, I don't know what a ton of it means. I'm not very in tune, but like, I don't know. Playmaking talent. So playmaking, right? A minus, which again, very good for a guy like Derek White. Productivity. Wow, this is like, you really got to get in here, but it's cool. It's cool to see. But I think I like this leaderboard stuff more. So I want to go. I want to go back to that. I want to go back to that. And let's look at like, you know, I think pretty much the consensus for top three shooting guards in the league, right? How it's kind of been for a while. Donovan Mitchell from this last season, and this is probably gonna be the last thing we do. So right, let me just make sure we're good here. We are. All right, perfect. So, let's see. So, efficiency. So, off ball shot making. So, I assume this is like, you get kicked to, and like obviously someone creates a shot, they pass it to you, catch and shoot type stuff. Booker's only at 70%, while these guys are at 91, 93. Right? Is that, yeah. So, Ant, Booker, Mitchell. That's how it goes. Finishing, Anthony Edwards, I mean, he's got a lot. Rim shot quality isn't great. Devin Booker, though, his rim shot quality is very good. Now, Devin Booker is not the same as Donovan Mitchell and Anthony Edwards. If I had to explain it, I would assume there's a lot of times where Edwards and Mitchell are trying to go through somebody or over somebody because they're super athletic, they're dunkers, things like that. While Devin Booker isn't always going to try and force his way there. He'll get there when he gets there, I would assume. Guarded by ball screen navigation, this is interesting because I feel like out of, maybe not, I feel like Devin Booker would be higher than a guy like Donovan Mitchell because he comes off more screens. Again, if I'm understanding this kind of right, I don't know if I am. Matchup difficulty. Anthony Edwards saw their best percent. It was in the 97th percentile. Off-ball chaser. Okay. Guarded by perimeter isolation. I mean, makes sense. Again, we are looking at some of the best players in the league. But I think what would be cool about this is going to like an end of the bench guy and seeing what are they really good at advanced wise, What else? We've got offensive rebounding stuff. Devin Booker's killing, right? Like he's got no red. 27. Putback scoring. Not these guys. He's not doing a lot of that, but he's beating them on a lot of other things. 1-on-1. So mid-range shot quality for Devin Booker is low compared to the other guys. Because you think that's his spot. You try and get to your spot, a lot of times you're going to force things up. Mid-range pull-up talent, Anthony Edwards, 71% compared to 99 and 95. Shot-making efficiency from mid-range, not great at all compared to the other two. What else? Perimeter shooting, right? This is what we would want to see. 3-point shot quality. So that's really interesting because Anthony Edwards led the league in 3-pointers made. I don't know if he led the league in 3-pointers attempted. I don't think so. Actually, I think Curry did. But anyways, like he had the 3-point shot quality was the best, and he took the most. Devin Booker, again, not a heavy 3-point, as much of heavy 3-point guy, but you looked at mid-range and he was like almost blue everywhere. What else? What else? What else? There's got to be something else. I mean, off-ball gravity. These guys have a lot of gravity, but like, let's look at some like really just to end it out. Like, let's see like some really like eighth man, ninth man on the bench kind of guy. Like, let's go. Not, I mean, this guy's not a ninth man type of dude. But like, let's go Isaiah Joe, and you can do it with just one player, of course. Isaiah Joe. Let's go with Sam Hauser. I mean, I'm picking kind of good shooters, and let's go with Rob Dillingham. Just the three random bench players. Again, you can do as much of up to 5. Again, go user sites. I mean, it's pretty easy, I'd say, to navigate. So we got Isaiah Joe, Dillingham middle, Hauser on the right. Let's see. So we've got Rob Dillingham doesn't spend a lot of time guarding 3s, 4s, and 5s because he's one of the smallest players in the league. Sam Hauser has the defensive, or not the defensive, the positional size, obviously, compared to these other two. Excuse me. We've got again, Rob Dillingham didn't play a lot, so maybe this isn't fair to do to Rob Dillingham because, again, didn't play a lot this season. But finishing talent, Rob Dillingham smokes these guys out of the water. Guarded data. Guarded by. I keep getting that confused. Guarded by, ball screen navigation, right? Rob Dillingham, probably they weren't going to let him do a ton of creation. I mean, obviously he had his moments because that's what he does, but like perimeter isolation, it's actually not. Isaiah Joe has the highest for perimeter isolation. Matchup difficulty, Isaiah Joe, right? Sam Hauser, it's just like someone who's going to run around with him. Off ball movement, Hauser and Joe, obviously, 60-ish, 50, 60%. One-on-one, Sam Hauser mid-range, pretty good, actually. Pretty good. Yeah. We've got perimeter defense, perimeter shooting. This is right. This is where we want to see for some of these guys. Like, 3-point shooting talent, Hauser and Joe, 95, 96 percentile. 3-point shot creation, right? Sam Hauser's not going to create his own 3-point shot. He's going to come off a screen and shoot, or he's going to sit in the corner ready to catch and shoot. Rob Dillingham would create his shot more. So, right, like you talk about it, you think about it, it makes sense, things like that. I mean, again, like catch and shoot, 3-point shooting talent, right? 98, 99th percentile. That is what, especially Sam Hauser. That's really the only thing Sam Hauser does. Isaiah Joe could do a little bit more, but like that is another thing that Isaiah Joe is really known for. So yeah, I mean, that's what Basketball Index. That's learning a little bit about some advanced, analytics, things like that, stats, because it's good to use. It's also good to compare. Like, I think comparing is really what I'm gonna go with again. And also when I'm making these top whatever lists, like that's sometimes how you do things like that. So I mean, it's good. I like, that's gonna be something I actually use more. It's gonna become where it's like, oh, hey, did you know Sam Hauser is in the 99th percentile for catch and shoot? You probably would assume it, but like, it's just a cool thing to do. Maybe we do this again. But again, I don't want to. This is something I had to pay for, so I don't want to give out too much. But thank you for Basketball Index. Thank you for watching. And let me know, are you a advanced stats kind of guy or not? Because again, I'm certainly not. I'm a watch the game type of person, but I'm gonna try and get better with doing a little bit of both. Or well, I do a lot of one, but you do a little bit of advanced stats in there too. But thank you for watching. Let me know if you like this, and also subscribe.